So this is a webinar to celebrate International Women's Day. That's what I was told by Miss Divya Belchada of MCT College of Education and Research. I'm always happy to talk to students and interact with women professionals. So with this, let me just go over to my topics which have to be covered in this lecture. Miss Divya Belchada listed these 3 topics to me. That is, first topic is my journey as a scientist. Then I'm supposed to talk about women and digital revolution and some guidance to the trainee teachers about integrating STEM aspects in the curriculum, in the teaching curriculum. So this is my first topic, my journey as a scientist. It will be quite interesting to most of you because I was born in a very remote village in Tamil Nadu, and my schooling started in that remote village in Tamil medium kind of school. And there our village could give education only up to 3rd standard because it was a very small village. Then to continue my education, I have to walk 3 kilometers to a nearby town to go to my 4th standard and all those, means to go to the higher standards in education. So in this town, I continued up to my 7th standard. All my education up to 7th standard was in Tamil medium. But there were certain family difficulties, which I am not going to elaborate anyway. My education had to be stopped at this stage. So for the next 3 years, after completing 7th standard in the nearby town of my village, I did not attend any school. For 3 years, there were so many difficulties because of which I couldn't go to any school at all. And somehow, see, it is kind of, divine grace or whatever you call it. Our family shifted to Mumbai, and then I continued my schooling in English medium school after a gap of 3 years. The 3 years lost is lost, but we don't regret that. Afterwards, there was no looking back. I completed the schooling, my graduation in SIS College Science, and with chemistry as the main subject. But at this stage, I just wanted to tell you, every one of you who are listening to my talk now, you must have faced some of the other difficulties in your life. See, these are the things over which we have no control. Means pleasant things happen in our life, difficult times come in our life. So all that we experience in our life. But it is how we overcome the difficulties and march ahead that is more important. That is what I wanted to drive home at this point. And also for overcoming difficulties, we need to have our own efforts and also divine grace. Both are required. Our efforts have to be there, and we must always seek the divine grace which will help us to overcome the difficulties. But once we are determined that I will face the difficulties head on, come what may, I will face it, then naturally the divine force of the universe helps you. And this is what is told by, our famous Tamil saint Thiruvalluvar. He says, Idumbaikku idumbai paduppar, idumbaikku idumbai padadavar. The literal meaning is, they give sorrow to sorrow, who in sorrow do not suffer sorrow. Means you give the difficulty to the difficulties itself, which means in effect, you just face it and march ahead. So that is the message I want to give at this point. Now, continuing my journey, after my BSc, completing my BSc, I applied for the trainee officer's post at Department of Atomic Energy. So this is a 1-year orientation course. After the successful completion, I joined the chemistry division of Bhabha Atomic Research. This was the year 1977. And as my area of research in the chemistry division, mostly it was based on physical chemistry. So therefore, I completed my MSc also in chemistry. See, I was doing the work for the Department of Atomic Energy. But along with that, since my work was all based on research, I could do my MSc by research, PhD in physical chemistry, and got my degrees from Mumbai University. So this way my journey in Bharat, it spanned over 38 years until my retirement in 2015. And during these years, I had opportunity to work on various fields like, thermodynamic properties of nuclear materials, which are important for the Department of Atomic Energy, materials for solid oxide fuel cells, hydrogen generation. These are very important in the area of renewable energy and all. And also thermochemical, photochemical methods and several topics, most of them are based on physical chemistry. And also I had an opportunity to work as a guest scientist at Jülich Research Center, Jülich, Germany, on solid oxide fuel cells. See, this gives an opportunity for me to work in one of the most technologically advanced country and gives you an opportunity to learn more from the way they are known to have prepare the machines, with perfect precision and all. So this exposure helps you to improve yourself when you interact with scientists from other nations. And also as professor of Homi Bhabha National Institute and Mumbai University, I had the opportunity to guide several MSc and PhD students. These interactions with students are always, it has enriched my knowledge. I learned more from my students than I think what knowledge I might have given them. It is really a wonderful to be with students, discuss with them the research problems, and then help them to get their degree, at the same time enhance knowledge both for the teacher as well as students. That's what I will say. And also as honorary secretary of Indian Thermal Analysis Society, I had the opportunity to organize several national symposia, workshops, and in thermal analysis as well as in materials chemistry, chemical thermodynamics, and so on. All this participation in these conferences helped me to interact with scientists at national and from international institutes and all. So this enhances your knowledge and also gives you an idea about what is going on in the national and international scenario, and go on updating your knowledge every time you interact with other scientists and also interact with students. It improves your knowledge, and also all the time you will be thinking how you can contribute more towards scientific knowledge, and how can you kind of contribute to the society through your scientific knowledge. So with this, I will just share two of my contributions while working in BARC. These two contributions gave me immense satisfaction during my career. So I would just share these two contributions before I move to the next topic. This is a setup. As I told you, I worked on hydrogen energy. Hydrogen energy is going to be the future energy because of global warming and shortage. Means we don't want the carbon dioxide emissions to be high in the future. So the future fuel is going to be hydrogen. So we work towards that and develop some catalysts for some process by which you can split water and get hydrogen from water. So this is part of my laboratory setup. And this catalyst, what we developed in our laboratory, this was used in a closed loop to demonstrate that yes, you can split water and get hydrogen. There are several steps involved. Our chemical technology division was also involved in this. And a complete loop was set up to show that, okay, you can get hydrogen from water and use this as a fuel for your future. This is a laboratory setup and laboratory demonstration. But this is very important because this is the first step to go towards larger scale plants and other things. And I am proud to say that India was the 5th country at that time to show a complete closed loop of hydrogen generation from this thermochemical cycle. So it gives you a lot of satisfaction to be part of the team, to have contributed to this important aspect which is important for our nation. And also chemistry division was involved in developing catalysts for some passive catalyst recombiner device. See, in Department of Atomic Energy has several power plants, and we get electricity from nuclear energy from these power plants. There are more than 22 power plants all over India. And you also must have read in newspapers and others some time back, due to tsunami in Japan, there was one of the nuclear plants in Japan. It was damaged, and there was a huge hydrogen explosion which damaged and let out radioactivity in the environment. So to avoid such mishaps, there is a passive catalytic recombiner. If at all there is hydrogen buildup in our nuclear plants, this catalyst will immediately act and convert the hydrogen to water, thereby avoiding explosion. So this is a very important safety device which is a must for our nuclear power plants. And so this technology was developed in our department, and it was transferred to ECIL Hyderabad. They took up the responsibility to supply to all our nuclear power plants. So more than 1,000 such devices were to be made. So that's why only a corporate can do it. We developed the catalyst, developed the device, and transferred it to the ECIL to do this. And in 23rd July 2020, the Kakrapara power reactor, this became critical. This is one of the flagship project of our nuclear power. 700 megawatt is first of its kind in our country. So this power plant was commissioned in last July 2020. And in this brochure, you can see that the passive catalyst recombiner device, which was developed in our department, features, and it shows as one of the safety features of this plant. So, this gives you immense satisfaction. Oh, whatever little work what I did when I was in my laboratory, that has gone a long way to help the nation to have a nuclear power plant with proper safety kind of features and all. So this satisfaction, you will get satisfaction in any of the profession you do it. But as a scientist, this gave me a lot of feeling of oh, you are worth something like that. So this I'm not going to detail. This, let me just show you that I retired in 2015 from BARC, but my journey as a scientist still continues after 2015 also, as I am associated with Indian Women Scientist Association. So in the next few slides, I will briefly tell you how my part as a scientist is I can play in activities of IWSA. As in the introduction itself, it was told, Indian Women Scientists Association is a non-political, non-profit organization, and we are committed to taking science to society and women empowerment. These are the main mandates of our society, and we are in the with 11 branches across the country, and we have two arms of our activities. One is for community welfare, other is science awareness. But in all this, it is the scientific method which is being adopted. So among the community welfare activities, I won't go into the details of it. We have a working women hostel, healthcare center, computer center, library, daycare. This is important because for empowering women, the child has to be taken care properly when the women go for work and pursue their career. And once you have a daycare center, you can have a nursery school for the early childhood education of the child. This is very important for the child because the formative years are extremely important for shaping the future of the child. And we have a early childhood education program associated with the nursery school, which is there in our center. And we also encourage the girl students right from college, school, maybe junior college up to PhD level, giving several scholarships. I urge all of you to visit our website, ifsa.net, where you will know more about these activities. And I am associated mostly with these science awareness activities, which are for school students as well as for college students. School students, we have a laboratory to show them some experiments. After their school hours in the nearby schools near IFSA, they come to our center, and then they are given extra coaching in science by our volunteers. And we have started several science nurture activities with the help of Vigyan Prasad, and we organize science lectures, science exhibitions. Below you see one of the science exhibitions organized in our center, where school students were very keen to know how science can lead to several technological innovations, and how it can help our nation to march ahead. And similarly, for college students also, we hold regularly popular science lectures to enhance their knowledge. We hold lecture workshops on specific topics, and also refresher courses for the college teachers, all this with Science Academy's support. So I am involved in many of these activities. And also later on, I will tell you, while discussing about integrating the STEM aspects, internship programs are very important for the students. It really helps them to have their original ideas, work as a team, and so on. And the last year, we have held several internship programs for the college students of Khalsa College, SIS Nerul, Jai Hind College, SIS Sion, and so many. In this, we arrange expert lectures. The students have learned, and they have brought out some very useful, interesting booklets after their internship. And we also review their progress and help them to come up with small projects which will go a long way in their career later. And also I am, you were told that I am editor of this newsletter, which not only gives the activities of our headquarters and branches, also interesting scientific articles are given in this newsletter. You can easily download it from our website, and you will find many interesting features regarding science education, and also progress in science in the what is happening all over and all. So now this brings me to the next topic, women and digital revolution. So this is, see, actually all the three topics are quite different from each other. So I am just changing gears from one to other. So when you talk of women and digital revolution, we must understand that the world we are today, it is changing very fast. There is a lot of change in the way we live, work, and think and all. And as women, we have a important role to play in this changing world. And also with the help of our STEM knowledge of science, technology, engineering, and mathematical knowledge goes a long way in improving the society. And this particular, when you talk of digital revolution, this is called fourth industrial revolution, and it is also called Industry 4. In this era, you must have noticed that low-skilled jobs are becoming automated. So where more people were involved in jobs, their jobs are being done by machines. So those low-skilled jobs are not having so much importance now. But at the same time, you have to acquire higher education and higher levels of skills to cope up with the Industry 4, the fourth industrial revolution. The topics where you have to enhance your knowledge are artificial intelligence, robotics, nanotechnology, three-dimensional printing, genomics, biotechnology, cognitive sciences, all these are, very important in this digital revolution, where we as women have to enhance our knowledge and develop skills to be competitive in this world. So this, this is going to be the future of this planet. So women should not miss out this job opportunities in these areas. So to have job opportunities in this area, you must enhance your knowledge in all these fields. So this, if you talk of enhancing your knowledge, you have to have a level playing ground, to enable women to get educated in these areas. So, but we find that in most of the developing countries, women are much less likely to have access to phone and internet and all. These are very important to have this digital knowledge. And also, countries like Bangladesh, Ethiopia, India, Pakistan, it is said that men are twice likely to have access to these technologies than women. But it is not because of our huge population. Even populous countries like Brazil, China, Colombia, and Indonesia, there is no appreciable gender gap. So this is something we must address and see that more and more women acquire knowledge in these digital skills. That is very important for us today. But I will also give you some picture where, in spite of not having so much of a level playing ground, some women have really achieved in these areas, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. There are some examples, like Sudanese molecular biologist. She took initiative to make ventilators using 3D printers. See, there are some individual efforts which the women have made to really come up with something which will solve the problems of the COVID-19 pandemic. Similarly, one more Sri Lankan biochemist professor, she volunteered her lab and then made use of all the diagnostic testing and all the availability in her lab, so that these testing and all those things can be done very efficiently and all. So women can contribute, but you have to put in more efforts perhaps than men. That is what is required. But while talking about pandemic, I am just digressing a little bit. There have been both positive and negative effects of women professionals during this pandemic. First, I will talk about the positive effects. That mostly it was work from home. So these flexible and shorter, it is not actually shorter working hours, but work from home reduced the traveling time and all. So women had more time to attend to the household responsibilities. And they really many women enjoyed this flexible working hours. And some women even made, kind of use this opportunity to expand their professional skills, because this working, this digital kind of, work from home, they could do their work faster and all. They spend their time in improving other professional skills and all. And also, as women, though we may be professionals, we may be scientists, whatever it is, we still like to spend more time with our families and also give equal importance to our families. As a woman, we can't avoid this, and we really enjoy doing it. It is not a kind of a burden on us. And the pandemic that way helped women in these areas. But at the same time, if you see some of the statistics, there has been a large decline in the research time available for women scientists during the COVID-19 pandemic. There could be several reasons for that. I'm not going into the details. And also, especially women with very young children, 5 years and younger children, the research time to give more time to devote for research and scientific pursuit, it's difficult. But we can overcome. As I told you, even my education was delayed and I started late. But you may be, once the child grows up and becomes on his or her own, you can spend more time. You can make up for that. So never lose your heart when you are not able to spend more time. But in India, if you see Indian scenario, so many women scientists have contributed. This is not scope of this lecture, so I am not going into the details. Several women scientists have contributed to solve problems related to COVID-19, developing vaccines, developing several, PPEs, and several. There is a whole lot of kind of help which the women have rendered during COVID-19. But okay, let me come back to the digital revolution, the main topic. It is known that this closing the gender gap is very essential for economic growth of any country. There is no denying of that fact. And also, we know that AI stands for artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is going to play a key role in the fourth industrial revolution. So this gives a lot of opportunity for women who are trained in this field. They will find themselves, once you are trained in this artificial intelligence and other related digital revolution methods, you will find in a stronger position to negotiate with your employer. But at the same time, let me give you some warning about the disruptive potential of artificial intelligence as well. Means we have to be aware of that. Yes, artificial intelligence can do wonders, and it has been doing. Now we are seeing in every walk of our life, artificial intelligence is playing a very important role. But at the same time, what are the shortcomings? Where we have to exercise caution? We have to be aware about that also. See, as artificial intelligence has evolved, we have it is not just it is treating some information. It can also interpret. Means it has gone to a level of interpreting the data through machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing, and all these things are giving the machines not only to just give some collect information and give you data, but also interpret. So through this deep learning, machines can interpret static, dynamic images such as photos and videos. And this has led to the facial recognition. Also, it can means I will say literally, it can put words into mouth of a person who is portrayed in a video. The person might have never uttered that word, but still it is possible with this kind of technology to make him or her say something which was never uttered by that person. This can lead to distort of information. This can lead to misinformation to the masses through websites and social media. This is where we have to be cautious and take proper steps to avoid such things and all. So it is the responsibility of the individual scientists in the digital era, both men and women. You have to counter this misuse and serve the community towards the progress, and see to it that these misuse are minimized. So this can happen only when you have thorough knowledge. So ultimately, a thorough knowledge of the subject is very important. So let me give you a very light example of such missing improvement which can be done. You all know of Siri, the servile female gendered voice assistant which has been used by hundreds and millions of internauts all over the world. Initially, she was programmed to respond to insult by saying, "I would blush if I could." This was how she was programmed. But later on, UNESCO Equal Skills Coalition, they realized that this is not the general neutral way of responding. So they changed the algorithm to Siri now responds to insult by saying, "I do not know how to respond to that." So this is a very minor example I am giving, but as I told you, you have to be really cautious how you use this. And there is no denying that as of today, women are minority in this field. So even if you are qualified in the information technology, getting jobs is becoming difficult for women. But it means these are the areas, like IT, computing, physics, mathematics, engineering, women are underrepresented. That is there. But as teachers, I would urge you to encourage your girl students to take up higher education in these subjects. They must pursue careers to fill the gender gaps in these areas also. So this is the responsibility of the teachers. So in USA, even though in life sciences and other, medical profession, many women are there. But as computer professionals, they are very few. We must have equal say in all the fields, right? So that is where we have to work for. And there are various reasons also for this: workplace conditions and lack of access to creative roles and so on. So all these, I'm not going into the details, but you can realize when you actually analyze many of these things. I will just show you that how women are only forming 22% of the professional working in all around the world. Like you see several countries, the percentage of women with artificial intelligence skills, it doesn't cross 25%. Most of the countries except Singapore is slightly more than 25%. So there has to be an increase in the percentage of women with these digital skills. This is what we can learn from this figure. And also the top multinational technology companies, so the Apple and Google and Facebook and all, they all have women in technical roles as leadership roles. But you will see that they don't cross 25%. Most of it is around 20 to 25%. So this also needs to change. Okay. Now let me see what are some positive aspects this can bring to women. As the automation increases, there will be less, repetitive jobs or, very manual operations and so on with this automation. So this will be easier for women to seize this opportunity. And also in the field of artificial intelligence, once you have acquired the proper skills, you can play a role both as employers and employees. And one advantage of this digital business is you will have, this is less capital intensive, less labor intensive, and also requires less office space. All these advantages can bring about more female entrepreneurs in this area. So this is the positive note of the Industry 4, which can give opportunities to women. And let me just tell you something about the Indian digital revolution. There is some good news, which the survey shows that the gender gap in employability is actually improving with Indian digital revolution. That is what the survey has found by Hindustan Times. One great structural change has been found that women participation is higher than the previous 5 years. And more women are there in banking and financial services industry. They make up to 46% of the employable talent in this industry. This is a good improvement. And we have to, this is that more and more work from home opportunities, So this will improve women's condition in the Indian scenario. Let me just tell you what IPSA has been doing to improve the digital knowledge of our society. We have a computer center at IPSA where we impart the various computer knowledge to not only to school children but also to elders and senior citizens. Today, senior citizens are also required to know all the digital knowledge. We have been holding machine language workshop. We have been holding teachers training program to improve their digital skills, and also train students for cyber Olympiad and so on. So this is our computer center. We have had some workshop on Adobe photo workshop. Mostly during the pandemic, it was all online webinars on online banking and cashless transactions by Dr. Sunita Mahajan, our chairperson of IPSA Board of Trustees. She is a computer professional. Of course, she is octogenarian, she is nearing her 80 years, but still she is so active in this digital teaching, and she continues years ago. We celebrated with the international webinar on this topic of changing face of digital era, and there were speakers who talked about women in computer science then and now. So this was a very successful webinar which we conducted recently. Now that brings me to the third topic of today. That is guiding the teachers about integrating STEM aspects in the curriculum. So, you know that the continued prosperity of the world depends on the community to have more and more STEM professionals. Because through these STEM professionals, you can bring about more, you can contribute more to improving the society and human, in general, the quality of life on this planet. So this integrating the STEM approaches has to start from the very beginning of the teaching curriculum itself. And this requires, multiple disciplines, concepts, skills, all these have to be integrated together in this integrating STEM aspects. And how these multidisciplinary aspects, this is very important for real world problems, because if you see around you, there are several problems to be solved just in your own neighborhood. You don't have to be a great scientist dealing with very difficult topics and all those things. You can, with your basic STEM knowledge, you can see that there are several problems in and around in our own society which can be solved. But for this, you need a multidisciplinary approach, because any real problem, it is not just specific to mathematics or physics or life science or something. Everything has to be integrated properly. So this is how we will just see how we can do all this integration in the coming slides. And so what I want to emphasize is this integration is important to solve the real world problems, and you have to have a multidisciplinary approach. So this real world problems, whatever you are having, this is not very obvious to the students when you just start teaching them. You usually in the schools, we start teaching, we have chapters on, means we have several things, science, chapters are there, mathematics chapters are there, and even among science, there are various disciplines like chemistry, physics, biology, and so on and all. But this technology and engineering aspects also have to come. That will come only by kind of seeing the surroundings and then trying to see where these concepts, whatever you are learning in the classrooms, whatever the scientific concepts you are learning in the classrooms, how they are applied, how they are means how the students are able to observe and then correlate with what they have learned in the classroom. This is how this integration has to come. You can even means engage the students. Means this requires a lot of efforts from the teachers. The teachers have to put in a lot of efforts to bring this out from the students. Make the students observe and make them make the connections. They should be able to make the connections between what they observe around them and how the scientific concepts, what they have learned in the classrooms, are being applied here. So this is how you have to do. Means let me just give you an example. Suppose there are two concepts concerning this light you are teaching. So this, you know that you have to teach the children light travels in straight line. That is one kind of a concept. And also light interacts differently with different surfaces. Some of the surfaces absorb the light, some transmit the light and all. So you have to make the child understand these concepts by, actually you can see the light travels in a straight line. It is very important in understanding the law of reflection, how a reflection takes place from a surface, especially mirror. But this can be shown by just drawing some arrows and showing and all. But actually you can do some simple experiments by, having some cardboards with some holes and then seeing, having a light source and showing that this light, unless the light is able to go through the holes in all the cardboards in a straight line, you will not be able to see it on the final screen and all. So these simple experiments you have to show them to drive home the point. This is what the first concept. And about these different surfaces, you give them mirrors and lenses and make them observe that how a particular lens can see. Even mirrors, you have concave and convex mirrors, what kind of images they form. And same way lenses also, how they light travels and then it is able to go through the lens when it is transparent and then make some image by the focal length. And all these things you have to really take some pains to show them in your while you are teaching them, not by just drawing the line diagram and showing this is how light goes, this is how the focal point is found out and all those things. That way it will not kind of sink in them. Let them do themselves. Let them burn a paper by focusing a lens on from sunlight. Let them focus the sunlight on a small piece of paper and see that once that energy is focused on a particular point called the focal point, how much it is able to even burn the paper and so on. So these are the things you have to show them and integrate with other aspects also. Now I'll go to a little, greater problem of solving real life problems by integrating various aspects. This kind of suppose this is for higher, what I told about light is for classes, say 6th, 7th and so on, for the lower classes. But once if you are teaching the junior college students and means 9th, 10th standard or junior college, they will be by various other examples. So this, if you, are you able to hear me? Because I get a message that the internet is weak. Are you able to hear me properly?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if you are able to hear me, no problem. Because I got a message in my screen that my internet connection is weak and all.
No,
okay.
we can hear you.
Okay, if you can hear me clearly, no problem. See, this you just ask the students to think about the environmentally friendly building. How will you kind of think about, means it is not that they are really involved in constructing a building or anything. Just conceptually let them think about what all goes into making a environment friendly building. So this will, they have to first think about what are the building materials that have to be used, what are the energy sources to be used in the building, how to make them more energy efficient. All those things, these thoughts will go. This is a multidisciplinary approach, but this is converging to one particular real life problem. So they will learn about all the building materials, the properties of concrete, wool, wood or steel, and how they are used in the various kind of, parts of the building, and how you can make them, more efficient way of using these materials. And even making the building means you construct in such a way that more sunlight comes during the daytime, and then you don't need to use more of electricity. So all these kind of thoughts have to be there in the child, and these they can try to put it down on paper and kind of integrate various aspects and try to converge towards the ultimate goal of having an environment friendly building. Now coming to the kind of sources of electricity for the building. Electricity you can always draw from MSEB or wherever that things. But if you can put in some solar panel in the building, and if your building is located near a place where you are having sufficient wind power, so can you use a windmill? They will be made to think and learn more about solar panels, how energy can be tapped from the wind energy. And all these, when they collect this data from all this, they will use their mathematical skills to create graphs, calculate the energy availability from various sources, analyze the data, and then come up with the best solution. Means depending on the location. See, even when you put up a solar panel, you should see where is the location, what is the angle at which the panel has to be kept. Several things goes into it. So all these integrates together to solve a particular real life problem. This is where integrating all the STEM aspects into learning comes up. So slowly, when you are teaching, you just start giving examples of integrating the STEM aspects into solving some real life solutions. So when you do that, the student will be made to think about all such aspects, and they will ultimately come up with, when they complete their education and start their own career, this thinking will go a long way for them to really solve the real life problems. Our National Educational Policy, NEP of 2020, they have kind of imbibed all these concepts in their kind of whatever policy they have come up with. So they have emphasized on the conceptual learning rather than this rote learning. Means that is gone are the days when you can just mug up things and reproduce. You have to have a conceptual understanding of every subject what you are learning. And also just not that everyone will become a basic scientist, means who will go to the space, or who will end up with some very high energy physics professional or something. Not necessary. Depending on your capacity, and you develop your vocational skills, and also you develop your mathematical thinking, and solve some of the small problems around you. That itself is a great contribution the science can do to our society. Okay, I am not against, very much of basic science or people going for careers in pursuing, high-end science in various topics. That can go on. But not everybody, every student may not be able to reach to that level. But that doesn't matter. You identify the skill of the student and train him or her in that particular aspect. And it has to be holistic. You have to integrate the scientific temper along with aesthetics and art, and make them understand all aspects of art, science, physical education. They cannot be just drably learning only the scientific principles. Make them involved in some extracurricular activities also. There itself, they will learn many scientific concepts. Even sports, you have several scientific concepts which are involved in that. So it is important for the teacher to pay attention to cultivating the skills, various skills in these aspects, and also life skills like, cooperation, teamwork, empathy, resilience. All these are important. So now, in this NEP, coding is started from class 6 onwards. This is very important because you are exposing the child to technology from a very young age. So this K-12 level exposure of the students to advanced technology is preparing them for the future. This inculcates a habit of curiosity. It makes the student question, observe, analyze, and record everything around them. So break the old pattern of classroom education and make it more interactive with the students. That is where I was telling you the internship program for the students is important. They interact with real world experts, and then they learn how whatever they learn in the classroom are being used to solve several problems. And just the textbook knowledge, you cemented with hands-on experience approach that will through these internships. So they learn much more this way than just by reading from the textbooks. And so as I was telling you, the child should learn teamwork and take the ownership, by leadership. So this will make them, a very successful entrepreneur also in future. So this, as you know, at a very formative age, the child, they are able to absorb knowledge like a sponge. They absorb it so quickly, and they are fascinated by all their surroundings, and they just look forward for something new, and then they capture it very fast. So if you just help them at this stage through these, government initiative like tinkering labs or some these educational programs, you will be able to really produce really kind of responsible citizens for the future. So this, as I was telling you, this technology world has is not only for the students, but also teachers. They have to go on improving their skills, because they have to think of very imaginative experiments, some skits and plays to kind of explain some concepts, involve the students in debates, discussions. So the teachers also have to kind of improve several of their skills. And so she has to improve her perspective, moving away from the conventional approach. So the role of teacher today is more like a guide or mentor. So this is out, and I'll just quickly go through. I think I have another 5 minutes to go, right? Hello? Do I have, how much time do I have?
Ma'am, we were about to conclude at 5, but you can take 10 more minutes, ma'am.
Yeah, another few minutes I will. I
Yes.
think my talk was up to 4:55 according to the
Yes, ma'am. That's okay,
schedule.
ma'am. You
Yeah,
can continue.
yeah. Few minutes I will complete. This is just a repetitive slide. As I told you, in our nurturing the science students, we are trying to inculcate all these whatever I have talked about now. And also through our learning garden, the students come and visit our garden and learn many things about the plants and their cultivation. We have a solar panel on our rooftop and we use solar water heater for a very long time. This also tells them about the renewable energy. They can actually see and understand many things. And recently on March 8th, we had revived our biogas plant. You know how you get wealth from the waste. Whatever are your kitchen waste, they can be converted to biogas and also manure. And even dry leaves can be converted to manure. All this was demonstrated by some BRC scientists in our center. And several projects are there in collaboration with Vigyan Prasad. Each one teach one, where a college student teaches a school student, and this improves the school students' knowledge as well as the college students, her communication skills. And she herself becomes more clear about the concepts when she is trying to explain the school child. And we have a science club where, do it yourself experiments we show to the students. Now some of them are going offline also because of ease of pandemic now. Otherwise, even through online teaching, we have been showing the various schools children about various experiments which they can do even at home and learn many things. And many garden-based workshops are there to improve your knowledge about the plants and their uses and all. And this internship also I have already told you. And also, this is for the college, even for school children. If you involve them in small programs and make them work as a team, this will go a long way in improving their skills. And at Science Day, we asked the students to come up with some ideas on biomimicry. This was a new idea for them, and the students really came up with fantastic ideas and presented it during our Science Day celebration. And we just encouraged them by giving them certificate, trophies and all. These are the pictures you can see here. And this is lectures for the school children and all, which we conduct. And recently UNESCO has come out with a book about the efforts what IFSA is making to take science to the society. Our founder member, Dr. Sudha Padhyay, and Dr. Sunita Mahajan, chairperson of our board of trustees, were interviewed, and this is included in this book. And several of our activities are part of this book. And our chairperson says women are more logical by managing our household and our work, balancing both our career and household. We are natural programmers. That is what she says. So these are the pictures of our volunteers showing actual experiments to the students while teaching them. And so thank you for your attention for this, but I have just a few more things to tell. Do join IFSA as a member and participate in our programs. That is my appeal to all of you. And these are the references which I have taken to give you some ideas about the topics which was assigned to me. And I also would like to acknowledge my colleagues in IFSA who have helped me in all. It has been a pleasure working with all of them as a team. And especially for these talks, my colleagues, Dr. Sureka, Dr. Suparna, and Ms. Priya, they helped me in preparation of some of the slides. So my thanks are due to them. I just end my talk about what I read about education. At the end of World War II, this letter was found in Nazi concentration camp. This letter is addressed to teachers. I would like to read it out to you before I end my talk. That letter says, Dear teachers, I am a survivor of a concentration camp. My eyes saw what no man should witness. Gas chambers built by learned engineers, children poisoned by educated physicians, infants killed by trained nurses, women and babies shot and burned by high school and college graduates. See this horror. Huh? So I am suspicious of education. That is what this survivor says. My request to the teachers is help your students become human. Your efforts must never produce learned monsters, skilled psychopaths, educated illiterates. Reading, writing, arithmetic are important only if they serve towards making our children more human. With this message, I end my lecture and thank you all so much for your patient time.
Thank you so much, ma'am.